Hi everyone, I'm Margie O'Brien with Capital TV. This is another Capital Spotlight, a chance for you to get to know your representatives and senators and also the issues that they hold near and dear. Today we're talking to Representative Raymond Hull. Thanks for being here.
Good afternoon.
So I'm really anxious to hear about your take on the wonderful MLK celebration that was held yesterday.
Well, first of all, it's dynamic for all of us to get together. Not just one day, what MLK means to me, and also to the state when they started the commission. It means quite a bit, but the atmosphere of yesterday was dynamic, and the people in the room was full, which says something. You know,
when the state leaders get together, you know that something's going to be happening. And
we hold them accountable. That's another good thing that I like to see at MLK, our day, state celebration. And we'll see what happens, because we all start on one day, but MLK is not one day. It's a lifetime. It's more than just one day and dredging up to do this, to do that. It's more than that.
So let's start with one of your statements. You said that if everyone could make a change in their life to better the life of someone else, things would change.
That is correct. Because what am I doing that could affect somebody else's life? That's what it means in a nutshell. And you know something? I've identified something in my life that I could change, and it may be just listening to somebody else to hear their idea. And that may change someone else's life. So you need to identify that personally, and that change will change and change and change and change to a better society, I hope.
It's definitely the domino effect. And I also believe that some people don't even know that 5 minutes of spending quality time with someone else could really make a change in that person's life.
Correct. And because now you're not only just doing that, you sympathize, you feel, and you try to understand. You're absolutely right.
So I imagine there were wonderful stories that came out yesterday, maybe also just different stories that evoked different feelings in people.
Well, MLK will do that because in the 60s, that's 50 years ago, that's an era that changed the life of America. It changed the life not only as African Americans, but also white Americans, to become aware of what's actually happening and what was actually wrong. And that in and of itself says something to us, that we were willing to make the change, but the change needed to happen.
Where do we go from here building on that lesson?
No, building on it never ends, really, because, and I use the old adage, we move forward, but sometimes we go back to the comfort zone and safety. It's very tough to get out there. And all I'm asking, and what my quote earlier today in the paper, make that change. How can I make that change in someone else's life? That's where we go now forward, is to try to make that change personally. How can I do that?
Let me ask you personally, are you satisfied where we are as a society, or do you think that we could be light years ahead?
We could be light years ahead. I'm not satisfied, and it's not speaking totally to one race, but I think there's some not comfort in other races that I could help them also. You know, and we don't need to pick and choose and do what's right. And if you do what's right, it will happen. You know.
I bet you give wise speeches to your children.
But of course, I love my children and other people's children also. But it comes from here within, and I think we all have that. We just sometimes have tough times expressing it. You know, we really do as a whole.
And if you take away the whole race issue, just having the state leaders there, and as you said, making them accountable, you put out an idea and you want to see it come to fruition.
Correct.
So that is just hard work. I guess we could all go back to Bill Belichick. Do your job.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I like how you put that. Yes, do your job, but most importantly, do what's right. Because we all know what's right, and it's tough doing the right things. It's easy to do nothing.
Well, I'm glad that you had the celebration. How did it end? Was there a positive note at the end?
It always ends on a positive note because it makes us reflect on where we were last year, but what can we do for this year? That's what it does for me, and I think that does for a lot of people. I actually saw that room full, really, really full. And the children that were there, we look to them and say, wow, they see it open, plain, simple, but isn't life that we put the barriers, you know, and I just want to make it different for me, for you.
And I bet through your words you've inspired those children to start making changes in their lives and affecting others.
I hope so. I really do.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure to meet you. And that was another Capitol Spotlight. I'm Margie O'Brien, Capitol TV.